Hello everybody and welcome to the season finale for the Asia Pacific Cup here in Phoenix. I'm alongside Johan and this is a Wolf Motorsport broadcast as we're here to cover the championship finale.
Hello everybody, it is wonderful to be on the broadcast once again. I am so looking forward to see what sort of crazy shenanigans we'll be up to here on the Oval, of course. Such a notorious track, isn't it, Seamus?
It is indeed. This is quite the track indeed. It's always been a bit of a weird one on the calendar whenever any series goes here, and this case is no different. Double points, double trouble. It's the Costa brothers, and they're the only two in contention for the driver's title as Boa's going to get promoted. But the question is, which Costa brother is going to win the title? My bets are on Ricardo, but I've been told that my co-commentator here is a Gustavo fan.
Yes, I enjoy Gustavo's silly antics. He's a wonderful presence to have on the grid, and it's a shame that these brothers are on their relationship is on the verge of collapse. But I guess when you're fighting for a championship, it's gonna be like that. Just see how it is with Chapman and Holtz in the sister series in the World Motorsport Championship, but. I hope that this team, which is Formula One bound, has the resolve to overcome their family drama, as it were. But
yep,
I'm hoping Costa can pull a miracle here. Gustavo is.
As you can tell, we're totally not biased for this event. But with that out of the way, let's head to the starting grid and see how qualifying went. And we've got Gustavo Costa on the front row in pole position to try and win this championship, with the American Jessica Moreau alongside in second.
And on the second row, it is the secondary drivers of both of those teams, Guillermo Almeida taking third place. And fresh off of an improbable second place at Vancouver, and joining him is the other championship contender who will have his work cut out for him, leading in the points. It's Ricardo Costa.
The Hard Luck Ladies, as they've been known throughout this season so far, Molly Fox and Ellie Nightingale for MRT Valbuena. They've been having a really hard season so far this year, but Fox finally scored a win in Vancouver last time out, thanks to some good luck for a change for her, as they start on row 3.
And on the fourth row of the grid, it is a Wolf, not the Wolf that's with me in the broadcast booth, but it's the Belgian Matthias de Wolf, reserve driver for Kitano, doing a full season with Team Kirov. He lines up in 7th, and joining him is Cortosi's young superstar hotshot. It's Makshat Harbuzi. He's fresh off of a karting world championship, and he's done really well in his first season in cars, let me tell you.
Two more drivers have some points to prove today. It's Ruiz's Michelle Cooper in starting 9th, and alongside is the second Kirov car of Go Conjanro. Let's see if she can go up to the front of the field today.
Commentators' puns, I hate it. And on row 6, we have more strategic differences as we see prime tires on the Lucatelli of Alex Willis, the veteran driver in his home crowd. He's got a whole corner of fans who are rampantly cheering for him. Of course, he's been around this championship for such a long time, but he'll have his work cut out for him for 11th. And in 12th is Freya Larson, who didn't feel like she was at 100% in the pre-race checkups this morning, but she lines up 12th for E-Spirit.
And row 7, we got Benito Haiso in the Cortorsi Corsa car. The Brazilians hoping to try and finish in the top 10 in points this season, and Kareem Shaw is looking to try and take that away from him. He's 11th in the points and starts alongside Benito Haiso.
And on row 8, more prime tire users, one in good condition, the other one not so much. It's Manish Ibisi from India for Crayantinic Formula Racing, having a bit of an average season. However, in 16th is the team that managed to escape demotion by some miracle, Johan Sylvander, one of my favorites for obvious reasons, though it seems that he burned through nearly all of his tires. He is forced to start with a used set of prime tires in 16th.
On the option tire, and right behind him, it's Artem Mikolov, the Russian roulette driver, as I like to call him sometimes, with his shenanigans. He's 17th in the Ruiz, and alongside it's Sebastian Ali in the Cray Antioch car. The Singaporean driver is looking to try and perform well, being the only Singaporean in the race and in the entire series.
And on the 10th row of the grid, it is going to be Johnny Navarro from Venezuela lining up with E-Spirit. He's not feeling the best today. He gave monotonic one-word answers in his pre-race interview, so we'll hope to see if he can find his mojo again for race day. And joining him in 20th is Ozu's Nicolo Strambi, one of the most popular drivers on the grid. He is, of course, the 2011 APS champion, but not in a great spot as things stand. He'll be hoping to make some positions back up as he starts in 20th.
And it's desperation time for Kruger. This is Austin Zarate. He starts 21st, and Laura Ingledew starts 22nd. Neither of them scored a point so far this season, and they need 4 to be able to. And they need 4 while hoping Zampelli scores 0 to escape being demoted to the ERS series. Can these two pull it off in the final race?
And on the final row of the grid, another driver who just has not felt good all weekend, reporting some symptoms of a cold. It is Jonas Braunlich in 23rd, and joining him in 24th, the wooden spoon of the entire grid, as it is called by some of our producers. It's Estela Batista of Zampelli, worst car on the grid. She just completely lost all control of the car in qualifying and was forced to start from the back of the grid with a completely redesigned new chassis, and she'll be taking grid penalties presumably in the future. But anyway, it is time for the chaos and the mayhem to commence here at the Phoenix Oval. It's a question of which Costa brother will have the better resolve, but they both have to deal with the strong home favorite, the McNeil race team. As we go down to the grid, where it is 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 laps, pause, and it's go, go, go! A jump start in the back of the grid for Sebastian Ali. Amazing start for Gustavo Costa as the two McNeil cars get in line with each other. As MRT Valbuena also tucks in with each other. It's getting absolutely crazy towards the midfield. Change of positions all over the place as Fox now needs to deal with, as Fox has overtaken Ricardo Costa is having a terrible start as Kareem Shaw and Benedito Heiso have come together. They've caused each other damage. There's front wing damage on the front. And as we are hearing, there is a jump start for Sebastian Ali.
Yeah, crashing.
Oh, dearie me.
There was a crash. There was a crash in the midfield. It was the two guys who were fighting to be 10th in the points as they took each other. They took each other out. They're both in the pit lane at the end of lap 1. As Costa, by the way, I don't know what just happened to him. He's gone from first to 5th, and now it's the McNeils versus the MRTs. As here comes Fox.
This is an absolute disaster for both Costa brothers. As there's Molly Fox making her way to the inside. It's time for the slipstreaming to commence. Fox is on a rampage with these tires. Obviously,
Fox has outfoxed her opponents.
Oh my God, I hate it. But as we see, of course, we know that MRT Valbuena's strategic department, as led by Azquinaga, their new team principal, has been uncanny and out of the box for the most part, but they're off to a phenomenal start, having to deal with the two McNeils as things go. McNeil were hoping to deal with the Bo Esperanzas. They made very quick work of them, but they have a new rival in MRT as Fox leads at the end of lap 3.
Kareem Shaw's got a drive-through penalty for causing the collision with Heiso, so that's going to ruin Shaw's race even more. He's going to be a lap down from that drive-through, almost 2 laps down. Heiso's about 20 seconds from being lapped by the leaders already. As meanwhile in the midfield, the two Costa brothers, by the way, they're 9th and 10th now. Neither in the points at the moment. It is Gustavo ahead of Ricardo, but they're 9th and 10th out of the points as the two Ruizes are up in 7th and 8th. Where do they come from?
I think it may have to do with the strategy that we're seeing, as not very many people have opted for the option tires. Only 8 on the grid have, at least the eight of those that survived. So that will in the end lead to a big pace differential, as we see the top 8 have broken free of those on prime tires. They want to try and hold a position. We are hearing
trouble.
There's a problem.
There's a slow car. There's a not this Wolf in the commentary box. It's the other Wolf in the Team Kirov car. He's out. It looks like there's a problem with there's a problem. He's going slowly and is getting out of the way. But man, oh man, that is not what you want to. This is the one track where you don't want to have a DNF.
Let's cut to Ginger Ismail in turn 3 and see what he has to say about DeWolf. Is there a problem with DeWolf's car? What are you picking up?
Well, that's underflow smoke. That ain't an engine. That's a gearbox that's blown up. Not what you want to have at this track. Yes, you might be riding high all the time, but there's more gear shifts than you'd like to imagine. And yeah, that's just not a great DNF to have so early as well. Not even 10% of the race distance.
No.
What were they thinking putting that gearbox in?
Who knows? To be honest, that's a good question that the Kirov Kirov's going to have to ask themselves later. As here we go. Here's Heiso trying to get out of the way of the leaders. Almost gets taken out by Almeida.
That was close.
Almeida almost got taken out as the front four pull away even further. 5 seconds is the gap now. I'm kind of curious now to see the Costa brothers running 8th and 9th at the moment and how they're doing, and also the fight amongst the prime runners from 14th on back. 14th on back, they're all right next to each other basically, and they're just not giving up. As now that's
mayhem.
Ricardo, my pick to win the title, goes around the outside of Gustavo. I keep forgetting who's who. These guys are just going at. These guys look almost the same from a distance with the helmets.
Indeed, they do. And I just want to say, thinking more long term, even though they are using the prime tires at the moment, the Costa brothers are miles ahead of the others on prime tires, just showing how unbelievably fast that Boa Esperanza is. Hopefully, some of that technical knowledge will be transferred when they promote up to the Formula One World Championship for 2017. Whether or not these brothers will stick with the vision of Boa is remains to be seen. Meanwhile, MRT Valbuena has dropped off the pace of McNeil entirely. There's Almeida and Monroe fighting. Fox and Nightingale have completely lost the draft.
And the crowds go, and I can see the crowd. By the way, we're on top of the grandstands, in front of the start-finish straight. The crowd below us, they are going crazy down there. I can see a lot of American flags waving, not just for Monroe, but for the McNeil team as a whole. They're 1-2 right now. This is amazing for them. This is better than what they could have expected with the Costa brothers being up front.
Indeed it is, though of course you can never count out the Costa brothers on an alternative strategy. But obviously, it's lovely to see McNeil doing as well as they are on their home track, Monroe being, of course, the 2015 APS champion. Things didn't quite go her way this time, but she wants to show the crowd that she's still got her stuff. As meanwhile, Ellie Nightingale has passed Molly Fox back for third. Mikhailovich trying to catch back to Harbuzi, as it is turning into a bit of a team fight. It's just a team draft situation all on our field. The McNeils together, the MRT Valbuenas together, and the Ruizes together, and the Boas are also together.
If you want to see
nowhere near each other.
If you want to see some non-teammate battles, you have to go all the way. You have to go all the way back to 14th place. Johnny Be Good, Navarro. Come on, man. He has to be careful because he's in a Kruger. He's dealing with the Krugers right now. Both of the Krugers are trying to make their way up the field. The problem is they're about 25 seconds behind the leaders or behind the points. So that plan on the prime tires has not come to fruition at the moment for these guys. BC also is about to get mauled by the pack here in a sec. As here comes Ingledew to catch a BC. This is not going to be fun for a BC here because he can block one lane, but you can't block three.
Yes, there's just too many lanes if you have old tires, you are as good as overtaken on this track. And as we are seeing, there is Johnny Navarro trying to make his way past both of the Krugers, who are in desperation mode for points, but they're going to need a proper miracle to score them at this rate. But they are holding back the rest of the grid as much as they can.
Not much of a grid to hold back, not much of a grid to hold back. You're in 13th, you're in 15th and 16th, guys. But meanwhile, back up front, it's still the McNeils leading the way as the two MRTs are just casually going side by side for some style.
It's 3 wide behind them for 5th place between the Ruizes and the Cortosi of Harbouzi. Harbouzi did everything he could to hold Mikhailovic up, but it just wasn't going to be enough. That's Mikhailovic to 5th. As we see Molly Fox back into 3rd, going around the outside of Nightingale. Fox hunting her prey, as it were, as Almeida and Monroe still side by side, doing everything they can.
Yeah, this is good. It's going to be a strategy race once we get around to it, because I imagine these soft tires are starting to die off. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here regarding the tire situation and how this plays out. As we're being told
Indeed, the tire delta.
We're being told MRT is getting ready, apparently.
Yes, MRT is in the pit lane. As we are being told from our strategist, our strategy graphic provided by AWS, get all your web services in one convenient package for one price today. The tire delta is roughly 32 laps on the prime tires, and one of the more optimal strategies. There's plenty of differing strategies with how to use the adaptive fuel with the prime tires. My bad. The time lost from a pit stop, as we see Molly Fox is coming in, is 32 seconds, which is a proper nightmare on this track where cars are driving at 200 miles per hour the entire way through. So you want to avoid double stacks as much as possible and make sure that both cars have their best possible chance of keeping as much track time as possible.
You lose about 2/3 of a lap from pitting here, as we're seeing with Fox here. She pitted from third place, and she's gonna come out 20th. Yes, 20th. She's gonna come out 20th, about 10 to 15 seconds in front of the leaders, who were another 5 seconds in front of her. That's how much time you lose in the pit. That's how much time you lose in the pit lane here with how long it is. Normally this track's used for stock car racing, but in this case it's used for open wheel racing, and you can see the difference here as to how drastic this pit lane is and how much it affects things. As Fox has jumped Nightingale for good this time in the pit stops, as we can see here. Well, these two are the first two.
Massive time loss, and
these two are the first two to pit. I'm curious as to which McNeil's going to get priority here, along with the two Ruizes running 3rd and 4th now, and the two Costa brothers. Who gets pit priority? I also just realized Navarro and Larson are next to each other for E-Spirit, and now the two Krugers are next to each other, and they're mixing with the E-Spirits for just inside the top 10. So quite a few teammates are near each other, as Larson Larson runs up on the banking and makes a mistake.
Completely scrubbed off all of her speed on the back straight, as meanwhile we are seeing Batista powering her way through this melee to make her move into 14th. And another one that just scrubbed off speed. It's Molly Fox.
Oh,
just losing all of that time, that gap she had to Nightingale.
Well,
as you saw.
Well, here comes Fox. Fox is on fresher prime tires. Here comes Fox. Fox is going to try and outfox her opponents and get to the front of this pack. No, I will not stop making that joke. It's quite funny, especially at a track like this. Here she comes.
Her way through
the middle.
The curves.
Through the middle. That's not how you drive.
Has passed every single car in the queue. Meanwhile, we're hearing.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Here comes somebody. That's Artem Mikolov, and the Ruiz is in from 5th place.
Any word on strategies from our pit lane reporter, Ginger?
Well, I'm not really in the pit lane. I'm on your blind side at turn 3, right where this pack are now approaching us. I actually see Nightingale cutting through like Fox did the previous lap. But strategy here is always very weird because your primes, they're considerably slow, but they go for so long. It's just such a weird one here. What I will say, I'm utterly shocked that the first of the McNeils has only just come into the pit lane on lap 23.
Almeida's in.
Surprise.
Yeah, Almeida's in. That's incredible tire wear.
Indeed, that would be an indication of underdriving and tandem drafting, as we saw with the teammates. And there is Almeida comes out about 36 seconds down on Monroe and 10 seconds behind the Costa brothers, crucially. But Almeida will have no problem getting back ahead of both of those Costa brothers. And as you say, yes, I was also curious as to how those prime tires look out there in the entrance of turn 3. Does the banking cause any real damage to them?
Well, it's quite a technical thing, really, but
Monroe's
it's not the banking as, yes, Lena Monroe's in. It's not really the banking per se, it's the energy of the car trying to almost be flat and stable versus the gravity pulled from the banking. That's what your killer is on the tires. At a circuit like this.
We have a change for the lead, by the way.
Ginger.
We've got a change for the lead. Almeida is the effective race leader. Almeida has taken the lead by 7 seconds over her teammate Monroe. Both of them.
And believe it or not, that is still better than pitting both of them at the same time.
By the way, as a note, nobody who is all the people who pitted so far, the only people to go on the soft tires for their second stint are the 2 McNeils and Michelle Cooper, who's now up into 8th, having just passed Ellie Nightingale in the background there. So strategy's gonna. So the soft tire, while fast, is apparently fragile. If your name is MRT, but it doesn't appear to be fragile for the McNeils at all. It appears to be the perfect race tire for them at the moment.
Well, that might also be because the McNeils are going for a different tire entirely from the MRTs, going for the primes. We don't usually see so much strategy, but really it's just hard to gauge where you're at on the track because of how much slipstreaming and battling you're doing. As there we see Molly Fox getting completely blown over by Michelle Cooper, who is also on the option tires, just passed for 5th place, as there is Monroe making his way through both of the Costa brothers.
Indeed.
And it's Gustavo ahead of Ricardo at the moment. This is the fight for the championship. At the moment, it would be Gustavo ahead. But Ricardo will try and fight it back. It's side by side. There's the curves that we saw.
There he goes.
The kinetic energy recovery system giving Ricardo the advantage.
I hope I'm not wrong here, but it would be absolute. Since Gustavo has the pole position, he would get in unless one of them gets separated by another position. Gustavo will win it if they finish next to each other. So at the moment, even if these two finish in an epic photo finish to the line, we're not gonna get. It won't matter at the moment. So so one of them will have to make a move to try and get ahead, to try and separate themselves from each other. So that way, one of them can get the title, or at least so Ricardo has a chance at it. Meanwhile, Meanwhile, I'm still waiting for the prime runners to finish, to pit in. Looks like they're going to go for a one-stop here, or try to. Doesn't appear to be the right strategy.
Well, that will be a huge saving of time, and as we see, the Costa brothers, I mean, they are doing their normal gamesmanship with all the fighting, but as we saw with some of the other teams, like McNeil and Ruiz, they were just using a tandem draft strategy, something we used to see in the stock car championship that runs here in their previous aero package, of just using each other's draft to save all mechanical aspects of the car, push less, fight less and accomplish more, as it is to be said. But now that the McNeils have split off, we're seeing Monroe push flat out to catch back up to Almeida. Their teamwork is pretty much over. It's a question of when the Costa brothers will do the same thing. Will they be able to successfully save that pit stop with this tandem draft strategy, as there is Michelle Cooper getting past both of them for third?
Cooper was the only other person to put the option tire on during her pit stop. So, well, actually, no, that's a lie, because now I just noticed on our timing tower, Johan Sylvander has also put on the soft tire. So he's also now deciding to put it on. As Willis is in.
Multiple cars in the pits.
Willis
in. Larson, Ali, and Brownlick all in. What tires will they pick this time? May want some options to get a better pace.
It is.
And in fact, Alex Willis does go for that, to the roar of the crowd behind him.
Ali's on the yellow wall tire. He's on the option as well. He's on the option as well now. It looks like as Sylvander goes flying past. So strategies actually settled down, surprisingly. We're seeing the pack split up a lot more than we have seen in previous years at this track, which is surprising.
It also comes down to the adaptive fuel. Whatever you choose will dramatically impact the overall pace of your car. We saw it in the World Motorsport Championship before refueling was outlawed in 2010, of just pace not really mattering until the very end of the race. So a lot of this is an illusion, and in fact, there we see there's a good chunk of the back markers just hit the pit lane to go for a brand new set of option tires and catch right back up to the field.
They're actually a lap down, by the way, because that yellow car behind them, that's Molly Fox, who's currently running in 6th place. Which, by the way, Fox and Nightingale are about to catch the Costa brothers, who are about. Never mind, they're not.
Ricardo in the pit lane first.
Ricardo pits first, so they gave Ricardo the undercut on brother Gustavo. This is gonna
I am hearing.
And this is gonna get interesting, as that's a lot of fuel going into the car. That's option tires.
Options. And I'm hearing on the team radio for Gustavo. Oh, so that's how you want to do it. Game on then, he says. These two are not happy with each other at all. It's time for the mayhem to commence.
Yeah, this is going to be fun.
Is still
waiting to see. I'm waiting to look at the pit exit here. I want to see how close this is when Ricardo and Gustavo meet up again.
Ricardo's miles. He's way ahead.
Oh,
Ricardo's got a huge. Good Lord, what an advantage Ricardo has over Gustavo. This is disaster.
And look at the pace advantage he got. He just unlapped himself from Almeida, and look at this. Here he comes. That's Zarate. That's Batista. Bye, guys. Bye, guys, he says as he goes flying past them.
And into 9th goes Ricardo, but Gustavo, I've actually just heard he made a live change to the strategy. The BOA team were going to give him the same one as Ricardo, but Gustavo refused. He wants the one stop. So he is doing a different strategy entirely from Ricardo, and he is fueling accordingly.
Well then, so it's going to be very interesting indeed between these two. It's not over for sure. But given where they are now, given where they are now, with one on sauce and with one on options and the other on primes, this is gonna really make the championship interesting now. As now they've split the strategy. We'll see how this plays out. Speaking of splitting, that's Ali and that's Kajaro. Both of them just split into 3rd place with Michelle Cooper as they're charging back through the field on fresher tires.
Holding a bit of a Ricardo Zonta on what this time was a front-running car. That's unlapping themselves with much fresher tires than Michelle Cooper, whose options are certainly starting to degrade now, and in fact that may allow the podium to come back into MRT's hands, who, after the miracle of Vancouver from last time out, it's safe to say that their new team principal Az Quenaga is breathing a sigh of relief for having a reasonably calm race in 4th and 5th, but more could still be on offer for the Spanish concern.
Indeed, it is. The Spanish sensation has not really really surprised us as much this year as we hoped. Although I'm hoping that they'll be able to finish the season off strongly because, quite frankly, they deserve it. They've had a horrific season up to this point, and Vancouver was at least some justice done in the world for these guys. They've needed this.
Absolutely.
They needed that result, and they got it.
I completely agree. As meanwhile, we haven't said much at the front, but it has gotten a little bit closer. Jessica Monroe has whittled it down to within 2 seconds of Almeida. Whether or not she will get the undercut on him remains to be seen, but Almeida still is our race leader, with Monroe trying to fight second, trying to fight off the cars that are trying to unlap themselves. That is Willis trying to unlap himself, and there's the blue flags making him move out of the way, but I think they'll have to wave those blue flags a lot more often because Willis is much faster than Monroe at this stage.
Costa has cleared Harbouzi and Artem, by the way, to move up into 6th place as Gustavo is currently still stuck. He's still stuck in 10th place at the moment. That's what I was trying to say. He's stuck in 10th, and he hasn't made much of an impact on Willis at the moment. But also, by the way, as our note, only the top 8 cars, only the points finishers are actually on the lead lap right now. That's
what
a
is
change.
This? Ricardo Costa's in the pit lane.
Ricardo's in. That's a change. That's way too early. I'm wondering why he's coming in now. Let's see. He's in the pit lane. Let's see what tire is this? 32 laps to go, so only the Prime could make it to the end, I think. Waiting. Prime tires.
Primes.
So he's flipping the script again. He's flipped the script.
He wants to outfox his own brother here. He's thinking, no, you will not usurp me here. I want to beat you at your own game. It looks like
Ricardo, now we know Ricardo Costa is definitely going to try and go to the end of the race. But what about Gustavo? Can Gustavo go over half the race on a set of primes as Monroe pits, trying to get on the undercut on Almeida this time around? Let's see, long stop. A lot of fuel.
Long stop for fuel. That must be primes on the McNeil, and indeed it is.
It's
Monroe
primes.
will get the undercut on Almeida.
Oh, this is going to be tight. No, it's not. Never mind. No, it's not. Well clear of Fox as Monroe is off and away. As Almeida comes in on the very next lap, Almeida made the call to come in a lap early. Almeida's in, and I assume this is for primes to go to the end as well. Almeida does not want to lose this race to Monroe. Almeida wants to win as Cooper's also in.
Cooper is in. She was on the same strategy as Almeida.
Hard
as Almeida
tires.
does come in with the same strategy.
Here comes Monroe.
But look at this. It's Monroe to the lead.
Monroe got it.
Monroe takes the lead and the crowd goes mad. There are American flags waving up and down the grandstand. So much going on. And Fox again scrubs too much speed off in the banking and is dropped another 2 seconds. Not that
it matters that much.
This really matters. They're in a completely different race.
Indeed.
As lap 48 starts, I was going to say about Ricardo Costa, let's talk to our man down on the field, Ginger. Was there any damage potentially that the BOA driver wanted to come in to fix, or was this just a complete second call to usurp his brother?
Ginger, are you there? It looks like he's having a slight bit of an issue. Apparently, there was a fan that was trying to tell him something, but we'll probably hear from him in a moment. Now we're looking at we're looking at Artem trying to keep up with Harbouzi.
Deployment by Harbouzi.
Harbouzi, yeah, just sent the battery on him, just completely sent the battery and just went for it, and is now trying to pull away again.
As we see Mikhailovic still trying to use the backmarker car of Harbouzi trying to use Willis's slipstream to try and get past Harbouzi again. As we see, Molly Fox has been on these tires for a little too long. That may be a bit of a problem for the McNeil team, for the MRT Valbuena team, as Molly Fox's tires are almost gone entirely. She has to go one more lap with tires that are visibly delaminated.
Yeah, those
And we are
tires.
hearing that Ginger has problems with his microphone. He will need to go and sort those out.
Indeed, those.
Hello,
But yeah,
is this working? Is this working?
yes, it is.
Yes,
we can
it
hear
is.
you
I was going to
again.
ask you. I was going to ask you, Ginger. Were there any problems with the boa of Ricardo, or did he want to just pull a fast one on his brother?
I mean, it's got to be down to strategy. I was as perplexed as you guys to see a boa going into the pit lane that quickly after the other boa had went into the pit lane. It's got to be some decoy strategy that him and his race engineer have concocted.
Out of curiosity, do you have any idea what was the gap when he pitted the second time? Was it like, I think it was, last time I checked, I think it was 7 seconds. Like,
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm sure you can get it confirmed by some producer, but 7 seconds sounds about right. We'll see if you can close it down, though.
well then, as Fox comes in for a second set of primes to go to the end. We're just outside the range for options, but given how bad how bad that tire looked on Fox's car, I'm not surprised that they went primes. Nightingale, who's even worse on tires, I imagine this will also be a set of primes to go to the end of the race.
Understandably so. And meanwhile, we were seeing that Harbuzi Mikhailowicz were going at it so hard that it allowed Alex Willis to just swoop through and take the position. Another driver that we haven't mentioned very much who is having a quietly comfortable race, it's Go Kanjiro in third place on the same strategy as Willis, and in fact just passed him for third, giving Kirov an outside shot at a podium.
Meanwhile, by the way, it would appear that Kruger are not going to do the impossible and score points in this race, which means that Zempelli are going to looks like they might cheat death here and survive. They might cheat death and survive because Kruger is not performing the miracles necessary. That team has just been. I'm surprised how bad that car has been. That car it looks evil. It just looks evil to drive, especially at downforce heavy tracks. It just looks evil to drive.
Which is really surprising because you'd imagine on a low downforce track like this where you would need virtually no wing at all, and in fact we are seeing no wing at all, like virtually no wing at all on the E-Spirits to show how aggressive people are with that. It's still a handful to drive, and they've been struggling all season long with the Zampellis, and it's a real shame for a team that was a solid, respectable midfielder just a few seasons ago. They are now looking down the barrel of just racing in the European Racing Series with only a few thousand fans in littered spectator stands instead of the packed grandstands that APS and WMC provide.
Indeed, it's quite a fall from grace for Kruger, but sometimes the mighty can fall, and in this case it appears to have happened for them. But meanwhile, up at the front, though, I'm noticing something interesting. The gap between the Costa brothers is coming down. Ricardo is...
It is very, very slowly coming down,
Ricardo
yes.
is closing. Gap is now 7 seconds after that second pit stop between Gustavo, who's in 4th, and Ricardo currently running 7th. As Laura Ingledew is temporarily promoted up into the points in P6, but will probably be pitting shortly as Ricardo goes swooping by as off camera, I'm being told. Cooper is... the only car between them now is Cooper.
We are approaching the final 20 laps of this race, and the championship is still on just as much as ever. So we take a look at the live championship standings. It would be Gustavo with his Hail Mary move overtaking Ricardo for the championship, and it would be a wonderful accomplishment to add to his resume of racing. But Ricardo is closing that gap. Obviously, Gustavo pitted really early in an attempt to make that Hail Mary one-stop work. Ricardo presumably went on to the prime tires just to sort of psychologically wear his brother out and say, no, you can't do this, and I can.
Gap is now 5 seconds between the brothers, as Laura Ingledew pits with just under 20 to go. If it's soft tires, they might have a slight chance at something, as Michelle Cooper, we're being told, just ran onto the banking for a sec. So that means there's nobody in between the two Costa brothers. It's now open season between them, as Almeida apparently has also made a mistake as well. Perhaps maybe some fluid out on the track. Who knows? As Almeida has now lost a couple extra seconds to the leader and teammate Monroe.
It's a real shame because Almeida's pushing so hard to keep up with Monroe, but Monroe has the wind of the crowd at her back, and as Winston Margate once legendarily said 30 years ago, the home crowd gives you an extra half second a lap, and we are seeing that with Jessica Monroe here. She is driving a fantastic race, doesn't quite have a championship to her name, wanted that second title, but she is more than happy to win in front of her home crowd. As long as she doesn't do anything stupid, she should be all set for that.
Kanjaro
finally in the pit lane.
Yep, Kanjaro pits, and let's see what happen. Let's see what will happen now. As we've got 3 seconds now between the two brothers. The gap
could be mayhem for the final podium spot, as Alex Willis, Mikhailovic, and Harbuzi are all racing their way through with option tires towards the end and try and catch up to the Costa brothers in third and fourth.
They're probably going to
have to watch that space.
They're probably going to catch the MRTs first, as Sebastian Ali, we're being told, is going slowly going into turn 3. Ginger.
Yep, that is Cray Antonich, and I mean, he was, to be honest, it might be something internal, but he could just be packing up for the season. He wasn't in a good position. He didn't have an excellent strategy. Probably just saving the engine, don't want to cause injury or blow up the car and wreck the chassis. That's my take on it.
So just completely noping out of the race is what you're thinking, isn't it?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, he was 15th at the time and was a lap down. So it wouldn't be. I suppose that's not completely impossible, but it would be a rare sight indeed if that was the case.
Meanwhile, in front of me, sorry to interrupt you guys, but half the remaining field's been lapped, as Kanjaro just ahead of Monroe in the lead.
Wow, that is a big performance golf, as Ginger mentioned. But what isn't a big performance golf is in fact the two Costa brothers, who are now in the slipstream of each other. This is the battle for the championship in the final 12 laps. Can Gustavo hold on and just stay true and steady, or will Ricciardo be able to completely outfox him?
I know
this is going to be a very close battle, as we see the option runner of Alex Willis passing Michelle Cooper. He could get his hand in the middle of this.
I know Ricciardo is my pick to win the title, but if I were Gustavo right now, I would just be spiteful as anything, and just try and block Ricciardo as long as possible if I were Gustavo. I hope he doesn't do that, but you never fully know.
And there it is.
Oh,
there's some curves in a desperate attempt at defending, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Towards the back of the grid, it's Jonas Brown that has crashed right in front of Ginger. We need to cut Ginger. What do you see down there?
Well, that's a classic turn 3 crash. Put the outside bit of the car on the outside bit of the track, and you don't want to do that in this track. If you put the outside on it, you gotta go all 4 wheels on, and he didn't. He spun, he crashed, as the great Milo Saarinen once said.
Indeed, and there's the spiteful thank you, Ginger, but there's the spiteful defending from Gustavo, doing everything he can to hold his brother behind. It is now side by side. They nearly touched there as they enter turn 3, but into third place goes Ricciardo Costa, and in the championship contention.
Ricciardo Costa up into third. And if Gustavo has to pit, it could be game over for the title.
But Gustavo's going to fight this back. This is going to be mayhem for the final 10 laps. Here comes Molly Fox and Alex Willis, about to make their move.
By the way, I believe the top 11 are now currently on the lead lap. We'll get confirmation shortly on who's on the lead lap and who's not. But I believe the top 11 are all on the lead lap. So if Gustavo pits, this could be chaos. But he might lose. He could lose the title, but he could lose the title anyway because here comes Willis out of nowhere on those pressure tires. Here comes Willis. Here comes Fox.
He can make a move around the outside here.
Willis tries to go to the outside. Ricardo trying to defend, and he's trying to defend, but also allow Willis to get through. Can he do it? Here comes Willis to the outside of the Costas, and he gets it. And here comes Fox to the inside. Fox muscles her way through.
Gustavo defends it. Let me tell you, these brothers shouldn't be fighting too hard because if they do, they will both drop out of the points, and neither of them will get a shot. And it would hand it over to Ricardo.
Oh, look
there's
at
another
that.
one getting through. It's Kanjiro.
Here comes Kanjiro. So your prediction of a Kanjiro podium might be on the cards after all. She's got to get going though to get that podium. This is unbelievable. This race has been, quite frankly, a little dull throughout most of the race. But now with the title fight coming down to the wire, it's all bets are off now.
But this is proper gloves-off racing now, as we are seeing maybe, the prime tires of both of those brothers may have phased in. Here comes Gustavo to the inside, as Molly Fox has pushed Ricardo to the outside.
And look at that, that's Harboozy getting in the middle of this. Where did he come from?
What an overtake!
There goes Harboozy through. Now these guys they're only fighting for fringe points at the moment. Gustavo would get it at the moment. Contact! The brothers hit each other! The brothers have hit each other! They've hit! They're both in the pit lane! They've hit each other! Unbelievable!
Disaster! And that would provisionally hand the championship to Ricardo. As things stand, as they're both out of the points.
Oh my God!
Dear me! That is disaster! I'm seeing in the pit lane, Gustavo is angry. He is being held in his car by the mechanics. He is trying to get out of the car and attack Ricardo by the sounds of it, but he is being forcefully kept in the car by the mechanics.
That's insane.
Oh my goodness, drama in the closing laps.
What insanity! Oh, and I just realized, by the way, guess who's up in the P9 now because of all this? It's Laura Ingledew. It's not enough. It wouldn't be enough at the moment, but she's up in the 9th place, so there's a slim chance still for the Kruger team after all. Meanwhile, the two Costa, but with the Costa brothers,
proper miracle. They need 5 points, not just 1, but, it would be a nice consolation prize if there's Mikhailovich passing Molly Fox.
Which Costa, also, I just realized, by the way, with how the points are, they're going to be tied on points. Gustavo's pole position is going to leave them tied on points, and since they're tied on wins, I don't know who gets it on countback.
It might be whoever finishes ahead in this race, which, let's take a look, see which one is ahead. I think it is Gustavo.
Which one is it?
It is Gustavo. Gustavo's ahead.
Gustavo's ahead in a lap, but they're both a lap down right now. We're coming to 2 to go, but Gustavo could capitalize here. Here he comes. He's trying to get around Monroe. He's trying to get around Monroe.
I've been told that Gustavo would win on countback with more second-place finishes. That would be what he needs.
This is unbelievable. We went so. But
Ricardo takes the fastest lap. Will Gustavo fight it back?
Ricardo takes the fastest lap. Ricardo takes the fastest lap, and that could cost Gustavo the championship. That could cost Gustavo the championship.
Crazy result this has been. This has gone down to the wire.
By the way, reminder. Gustavo is on the lead lap. Ricardo is not. We're coming to this is the final lap now as Monroe takes the white flag. Final lap.
Monroe has done a phenomenal job up front. She has just been true, steady, and perfect all day long. I hope she has another shot at the title because she has led by example in this Grand Prix. I hope that she has another chance at a world championship, at an Asia championship in 2017. As around the final turn, it is Jessica Monroe defending Gustavo Costa. Ricardo Costa, but Jessica Monroe will win.
And Ricardo does not get another lap in, so if Gustavo does not get another lap in after all. Or wait, no, that's Ricardo. Sorry.
Needs to fight for this fastest lap. Gustavo needs to fight for this lap. Fox has run out of fuel.
Fox is out of fuel. Fox is out of fuel, and that could give Laura Ingalls a point, and that could give Costa a point. Where's Costa? Where's Costa? Here he comes.
Fighting for this.
Here he
He's
comes.
racing to
Here he
the line
comes.
to do it.
No, can't get there in time.
No, he's
Just
missing
missing it. Ricardo Costa is the champion. Ricardo Costa's the champion in the most dramatic finale you couldn't possibly predict. How has this happened? There's nothing.
Oh my goodness me! And the Boa Esperanza Garage is terrified. They are doing everything they can to calm these brothers down. They will no doubt be talking to each other, at least potentially an altercation, doing everything they can to keep the situation under control. But that is absolutely crazy, as we are about to check post-race scrutineering. Could there be even more on the cards?
No, there is not. There is not.
The results are official. It is a dominant 1-2 for McNeil, and the Costa brothers collide with the championship on the line. Neither of them made it work.
That is, and we didn't even acknowledge it, but Kanjaro gets a podium. Kanjaro gets a podium out of all
this. A great drive
this.
to the podium from Go Kanjaro in 10th, and Harbuzi, 4th place from him. I hope he is a championship contender next year as well, because
Artem Mikolov, by the way, gained 11 spots. He was 17th on the grid, and he got P6 in the end.
That was absolutely amazing stuff. I am delighted to have seen. That race may not have been the best to start with, but it really came alive at the end, let me tell you. That was so crazy.
Oh my goodness, that was amazing. There's nothing left there's nothing real in the world anymore. Ricardo Costa won the championship in the most dramatic way you could have imagined. If he told a movie script this, if he tried to script this as a movie, they would call you crazy. But this
is just like Rio 2000. It's Rio 2008 all over again, isn't it? I remember.
Indeed, it is.
We were in the broadcast booth. I could not believe my eyes then. I can't believe them now.
I can't either, and I can't believe it, and I'm right here. I can't believe it. I pinched myself, and I still can't believe it. What a race!
Well, that's quite a thing to admit on broadcast.
That's just how crazy this race was. The ending was. It's a movie-esque ending to what's been an absolutely fantastic season. Boa gets the promotion. Ricardo gets the title, and McNeil I imagine will come back next year and hope to be champions at their home track next time around. But also we will be saying farewell. We'll be saying farewell to Kruger as well, and we'll be saying hi to a new team in the APS once again. So
we'll see that race tomorrow. It's likely to be Eastwood. I hope they can make their mark. They've shown proper dominance in that championship. Maybe they can take the fight to Ozu and Zampelli in the coming season.
Indeed. But with that out of the way, I think I need to stop because I have a lump in my throat. We will see you next season for what will be a really interesting season, I imagine, for sure.
I've been Johan.
And I've been Wolf.
And this is Wolf Sports signing off for the final time in 2016.
Farewell.